Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Business of Coaching Open House. My name is Sonia Henry, and I'm the Director of Executive Education here at the Center for the Advancement of Wellbeing at George Mason University. Our mission is to be a catalyst of human well-being, and we define well-being as living a life of vitality, purpose, engagement, and resilience. And our suite of coaching programs is one of the many ways that we serve our mission within the wider community. I'm excited to introduce to you our lead instructor for the business of coaching, Miss Sarah Heppel. A little bit about Sarah, and I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit more. But she's the founder of Spectrum Leadership Solutions, and their mission is to cultivate leadership excellence in individuals, teams, and organizations. Sarah is a graduate of Georgetown University's leadership coaching program, and she's a master certified coach. Sarah, please tell us a little bit more about the business of coaching and all of the amazing things that people will learn from the one-day boot camp.
Thanks, Sonia. Great to be here with you today, and thanks for the warm welcome and the kind introduction. I would also say I'm a George Mason graduate of the advanced coaching program years ago, and so excited to also be here with anybody who has any questions about the business of coaching, which we offer on February 7th, and of course here for this informal open house where we're just going to go through and answer any questions that you have and give you a bit of a template of what will happen on February 7th. So as Sonia said, I'm a small business owner, and we own a boutique consulting firm, leadership consulting firm, and executive coaching consultancy, mainly from Vienna, Virginia, but we have many folks working with us all around the United States and the world. And I've been a business owner here now in the United States for 15 years already. Before that, I started and owned a small business in Germany and Italy, and I also did some work in Argentina before that. So one of my favorite things that you're going to hear me talk about is a passion to make sure that we don't lose any terrific coaches, wonderful certified coaches who are excellent at what they do because they don't really know how to run the business or even where to start. So really excited to jump into that today. And I also wanted to thank George Mason for their partnership in bringing Spectrum in on this. It's a real honor to be able to wear the Spectrum hat together with the George Mason hat. And you'll be seeing some of my team members today and or on February 7th, should you choose to register. So I want to introduce Katie Richard, our Learning and Development Director, who is here helping us answer questions and run the show. Hi, Katie.
Hi, Sarah. Excited to be here with you all and talk more about the business of coaching.
Thanks, Katie. So let's just dive in and talk a little bit about why this program. How did the business of coaching come about, and what makes it important for you thinking about signing up for it, and what makes it important for us, and how we decided to even create this and offer this. So we just wrapped up with cohort 17 at George Mason University, and we constantly got questions about, okay, now that we're certified and we truly understand the framework of coaching, how do we run a business? How much should I charge? How many contracts should I have? How do I write those contracts? Should I have a web designer? Should I have an admin? Do I need a lawyer? Do I need insurance? All of these questions that the faculty were trying so hard to answer during the program, during lunch and learns or in the hallway before and after programming, we said, all right, at George Mason, we're going to offer and dedicate a full day virtually to the business of coaching to answer as many questions as you have around the business of coaching. We want you to feel like you're a true professional in our industry. We want you to be able to talk about pricing or clients or your offer with confidence, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you want to go and partner or subcontract for somebody else, or maybe you're somebody who already is running and leading a diverse coaching program and bench within your organization, and you're an internal coach. So this is a great time for you to bring all your questions to a very talented bunch of coach business owners and learn more, maybe a deeper dive, or maybe it's your first toe in the water with running a business, we're going to be touching on all sorts of topics, and you're going to be expanding your network and talking about coaching business next steps directly related to you. So these are the objectives. I want to get into a little bit about what's going to happen on the actual day of February 7th. You're going to leave with clarity on costs. We're going to have a big, robust discussion around rates. How much should I charge hourly? How much should I charge for a 3-month contract, a 6-month contract, a year contract? How does that differ amongst professions? What about private industry, private sector? How about the government? What about higher ed? How about nonprofits? What do those rates look like? We get lots of questions about that as we go throughout our coach education program. But as you all know, there are only 8 competencies from the International Coach Federation, and none of them include how do I run my business and how much should I charge? So we're going to talk a lot about the costs and also the costs for you to run a business, whether you're starting a business, you've been doing it for 2 or 3 or 4 years, or you're pretty experienced. How do I take my business to the next level, and what might that look like financially? We also, in the morning on February 7th, we give a good hour to 90 minutes to Jim Sims, who is an actual certified, board certified lawyer and coach. And he's going to talk about everything from vulnerabilities, copywriting, insurance, partnering, contracting, and any other legalities that you're not quite sure what you should be diving into or what's a risk, and how to protect yourself, whether you're going to be a sole entrepreneur, a sole proprietor, whether you are going to be an LLC, an S Corp, whether it's just going to be you, or you want to partner, or you want to bring in employees and hire people to work for you. What does that look like? What do you need? How do you protect yourself? So those are a lot of logistical questions that we also get a lot in our coach education program. And we have a bona fide attorney who is certified in several states on the East Coast, who's going to be talking about what you can do, how to do it, and if he doesn't know, where you should go to ask in your home state or even home country, because I know some people join us from overseas as well. So we're also going to talk about some traps, some potential pitfalls associated with running a successful coaching practice. We're also going to be talking about what makes a happy yes for you. How much do you want to earn? We're going to do the math. We're going to actually ask you to think about that. We're going to give you a lot of templates, which I'll talk about in just a second, about how much you need to earn and how many clients you need to have to earn that. And are there other services that you might also want to offer or are already offering in your practice that you still want to continue? Maybe you want to be an author, or maybe you're a marketing strategist, or maybe you're a consultant already and you want to add coaching into a practice that you already have. That's great. We're going to actually carve out those slices of the pie, if you will, so you can clearly define this much is what I need, this much is where I want to focus on, this many clients for this service equals that number and that compensation that I need to have for 2025. We're also going to be talking about business logistics, some do's and taboos when you're actually talking about your business. Many people come in and they say, okay, I know what I want to talk about, but where do I find the clients? And of course, that's a long-term conversation, one that you might not have perfect clarity after the 8 hours with us over at George Mason. And you'll have a very good idea of how to introduce yourself, how to say what you need, how the potential client or potential networking person can give you some help, advice, or an introduction, and also how to offer your own services directly to them. And you'll be able to do that in a very concise and clear way and be able to practice it with other people on February 7th. We're also going to give you a template on a really big template on all the people who you know. What's your network look like right now? Everything from alma mater to neighbors to former bosses and colleagues to hobbies. we're going to ask you to come with a good 50 people who you know and really start to narrow that down, because I guarantee you already know your first 5 clients. They're already in your circle somewhere. So who are they? Who do you want to get in front of? And what will you say when you actually get that introduction? And last and certainly not least, it's a great chance to network. We have several guest faculty and all successful business owners who will be coming in throughout the day. We have Sue Nicholas, who's coming from SCT, who now has a very successful coaching practice of almost 100 employees. So she will be joining us for our Business Builder panel. We'll also have Mike Rochelle, very successful solo entrepreneur, a little bit of a different experience where he subcontracts out but doesn't have full-time employees, but does many, many interesting things with coachees in higher ed, private sector, nonprofit, also very busy with boards of directors as well. And Jim Sims, who I already mentioned, who has that legal background, he also runs a very successful coaching practice as well. So that will be rounding out the end of our day on February 7th, where you get to hear their stories. How did they build their businesses? What are they always on the lookout for? Several of these people always look to collaborate and hire. So if you're looking to also get on a bench of coaches, we all are always looking for talented certified coaches coming out of terrific coach education programs. So you will leave with all of these contacts, numbers, emails, etc., and also the contacts of the people going through the business of coaching with you. And it's pretty robust group. We also invite you to join us for alumni events as well. And I can tell you from experience, there's been a lot of business going back and forth, a lot of networking, a lot of sharing of ideas. And in general, it's just a great community to get to know and be involved with who can help you in running your business. Last but not least, I'd like to talk just a little bit about the program tools and the templates that you will receive. This is our 3rd year now of offering the business of coaching, and we have received terrific feedback and specific attributes that alumni from the business of coaching have said, this is terrific, and this would make it even stronger, even better. So we're constantly tweaking our templates and what you receive as pre-work. So this is really useful, and you hit the ground running when you come together with our group. So you are going to get a bunch of coaching templates. You'll see it all here on the screen. But if you're listening to this recording on audio, hang with me while I just talk you through what you'll receive. So 6-month coaching engagement. What should go into that? What do I say? What do I offer? So you'll get a template of that. A leadership coaching agreement. What does that sound like specifically? And maybe you are in life coaching or career coaching. Maybe it looks and sounds a little bit different, but we'll give you a template for a leadership coaching agreement. The thing that you give to your client before you actually start working, they sign it, give it back, everybody's clear on the services. How about a statement of work? If you get that far, an SOW is often required. And so what should you say in that? What do you promise? What do they promise? Who needs to sign by what? What happens if they don't sign by the timeline that you put on your statement of work? So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll also give you a client introductory email sample and a profile form. What do you need to know about your clients? What would they like to share with you beforehand? And what would they need to know? What do you need to know? And so you can come prepared and have a little bit of a background before you have that first initial coaching session with them. A coaching prep form. This is a form that you might choose to send out to clients maybe a week before you meet, maybe the day before you meet, maybe you give it to them once and it's optional that they fill it out. Some of my clients love this and they actually do a brain dump before they come into the session. So they always have it at the helm, this coaching prep form. Maybe that's something that's useful for you to use. We also will give you a template for coaching objectives and outcomes. What are their goals? What does that sound like, look like? Kind of that meta agreement of things that you might come back to. How will you know that you're making progress with them? How do they know they're making progress with you? We'll give you an example of a narrative 360 report. So most of you are probably familiar with 360s. So this is something that is a great gauge for the client. How are they doing? They get to fill out usually a report on themselves or a questionnaire on themselves, and they'll also send it to maybe 10, 12 stakeholders. Well, a narrative 360 is where you create the 360 together with your client. Very powerful, especially for people who are pretty 360'd out. They've taken a lot of senior executives take 360s pretty often. They get a little tired of them. So you can actually specifically co-create one with your client, and we'll give you a template of what that could look like and the questions that are on that, and how you would then give them the outcome of that. Maybe you have 3 or 4 things that you recommend that they start doing or stop doing, and that's all a tailor-made report. We'll also talk about the pricing on that because it's much more in-depth versus something that's generated or that you might buy from, say, the Leadership Circle profile. Also, last but not least, we'll give you a feedback form and some examples around that. You get all of these templates before you come into the class. So you can peruse them, you can look through them, you can bring your questions. And the next few categories here are what we're going to talk about in the class specifically. So I already mentioned we're going to be talking about coaching rates. So that's actually in the slideshow and in the handout that you get. We'll be asking you to fill out your client pipeline. Remember your network. Who do you know? Everything from alma mater to colleagues to neighbors. So we're going to give that to you in advance so you can fill it out, and we'll ask you to work with that during our day together. So by the end of February 7th, you'll be able to see, okay, these are my top 5 people, top 10 people I'm going to have a conversation with immediately or as soon as you want to get started. The business cost outline, we're going to give you a template on that. How many clients you need to have, what does the pricing look like, and this is my magic number for 2025 and how much I need to be compensated for. Annual strategic plan, we're going to talk about that and give you a little template around that. And Jim will give you a bunch of legal resources, links, templates, things that you should read or be familiar with. And these things are changing quite a bit throughout the year. So he'll give you some websites and some links and some podcasts and things that you can stay on top of. And last but not least, networking opportunities. We're going to have lots of breakouts. It's going to be very interactive. You have plenty of time to ask questions and also learn from other business owners who come into this. And what I've noticed so far is that we usually have about half and half. Half newbies, people that are just in the process of starting their businesses, and the other half tend to be people who are quite experienced, 5 years or more, who are coming in. So it's an eclectic mix. We usually have a good 20 folks or so who are in there. So you are going to get a chance to speak with them, learn from them, and all of the faculty and business owners who come in with the facilitation hat. So let me pause there. Katie, anything else I'm forgetting to share that I haven't touched on yet?
No, I think that you've covered it all. I think we're good.
Great. Sonia, anything you'd like to add about George Mason?
Sure. I can share just a little additional information in terms of next steps for those that are interested in registering for our next Business of Coaching session. So our next offering will take place Friday, February 7th. It's a full day, 8:30 to 5 p.m. And the registration closes on Friday, January 24th. So if you're interested in registering, please stop by our website. I will drop it in the link, but wellbeing.gmu, and search for our Business of Coaching course. And there you can, it'll move to the application link as well as any additional information about the course itself. And then, as always, if there are any questions that you have for our team, please reach out to us at coaching@gmu.edu. We're happy to help. We're happy to put you in contact with Sarah and her team if there are any additional questions as well. So thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you soon.